I never imagined my stepfather would do something like this. What happened next was beyond unbelievable, the kind of thing that changes your life forever. My name is Emily Carter, I'm 22 years old, and this is the story of how one shocking revelation turned my entire world upside down. Growing up, it was just me and my mom, Linda. My biological father walked out on us when I was 3, and I had no memories of him. My mom worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on and food on the table. She was my everything, strong, kind, and selfless. For most of my childhood, it was just the 2 of us against the world. When I turned 15, my mom met a man named David Morrison. He was charming, successful, and had a quiet strength that made her feel safe. I remember being skeptical at first. What teenage girl isn't when a new man enters her mother's life? But David tried really hard to win me over. He took an interest in my school, my hobbies, even drove me to soccer practice when mom was working late. Eventually, I started to let my guard down. After a year of dating, mom and David got married, and he officially became my stepfather. The first few years were normal. David was never the overbearing father figure, but he was supportive in his own way. He helped me with college applications, taught me how to drive, and even surprised me with a used car on my 18th birthday. I thought, wow, maybe I really got lucky. My friends even joked that he was the cool stepdad, and for a while that's exactly how it felt. Things started to change subtly during my second year of college. I moved back home temporarily while I transferred schools. David started acting strange. Not in a creepy way, just off. He'd ask questions about my schedule, where I was going, who I was seeing. At first, I brushed it off as concern, but something about it felt too intense. One night, I walked into the kitchen and caught him staring at my phone screen. When I asked what he was doing, he stuttered something about checking the time, but the microwave clock was right behind him. That was the first red flag. Then there was the night I came home late from studying and found David sitting in the living room in the dark. He said he couldn't sleep, but the way he looked at me made my skin crawl. It was subtle, just a glance that lingered a second too long, but it made me feel deeply uncomfortable. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to upset my mom, who was happier than I'd ever seen her. But the weird moments kept piling up. One afternoon, I left my laptop open while I went to grab lunch, and when I came back, some of my files had been moved. At first, I thought maybe I had opened them by mistake, but then I found a folder labeled Private was completely gone. I checked the recycling bin. Nothing. Just gone. That folder had personal journals, letters to my late grandfather, and a couple of photos from a vacation I had never posted anywhere. I was furious and scared, but I still couldn't prove it was David. The breaking point came 3 months later. I had installed a small security app on my laptop after the file incident. It took snapshots every time someone tried to log in unsuccessfully. One morning I checked the log and found multiple failed attempts. At 2:14 a.m. The snapshot showed David hunched over my desk, typing. I stared at that photo for hours, my heart pounding. My stepfather had tried to break into my computer in the middle of the night. My blood ran cold. I printed the photo and confronted him that evening when Mom wasn't home. He didn't deny it. In fact, he smiled like I had walked into some kind of trap. "You think you're so smart, Emily," he said, his voice eerily calm. "But you have no idea what I've done for this family." "What the hell are you talking about?" I shouted, shaking. "I've protected you, your mother. You owe me everything." "I don't owe you anything," I screamed. He took a step forward, and for a split second I thought he was going to hit me. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a flash drive. "If you ever tell your mother about this," he said, "I'll make sure she never believes a word you say." I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I packed a bag and went straight to my best friend Taylor's apartment. I showed her everything, the photo, the flash drive, the weird messages. She urged me to go to the police, but I was terrified. My mom loved David. He had manipulated her, made her believe he was perfect. How could I shatter that illusion? But the story didn't end there. A few weeks after I left home, I got a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was a woman named Rachel. "Emily Carter?" she asked. I think we need to talk. It's about David Morrison. Apparently, Rachel was David's stepdaughter from a previous marriage. She told me that David had done the same thing to her. Started out as a supportive stepfather, then crossed boundaries, manipulated her, tracked her devices. She had filed a restraining order against him years ago, but the case was dismissed for lack of evidence. He had erased every trace of their past from the internet. I was stunned. She sent me photos, old court records, even a copy of a journal she had kept. Everything lined up. David had a pattern, a method. He'd prey on single mothers, gain their trust, then isolate and control their daughters. That was the moment I decided to take action. I compiled everything. My laptop logs, the security photo, Rachel's testimony, and finally went to the police. It took weeks, but eventually they opened an investigation. With Rachel's help and my evidence, they uncovered more victims. David had done this in 3 different states over the last 15 years. The man who had once acted like a protector had actually been a predator in disguise. The day they arrested him, I was sitting with my mom at the kitchen table. I had told her everything, expecting her to defend him, to call me a liar. But when she saw the evidence, she broke down. She kept whispering, I didn't know. Over and over. It was the first time I had ever seen her cry like that. David was charged with multiple counts of unlawful surveillance, digital harassment, and breaking and entering. The other victims came forward too. He's now serving a 15-year sentence without parole. It's not justice for everything he did, but it's something. My relationship with my mom is healing slowly. We go to therapy together. We talk about the red flags she missed, the trust that was broken. It's not easy, but we're working through it. I never imagined my stepfather would do something like that. I never thought someone who seemed so normal, so caring, could be hiding something so dark. But now I know. Monsters don't always hide under the bed. Sometimes they sit at your dinner table and ask how your day was. And the unbelievable part, I survived, got out, and now I'm helping others do the same.